Hello everyone, this is the Worm Whisperer here. I'd like to welcome you back to my channel, or welcome you to my channel if you're new here. Today I'm going to go over how to set up a micro worm bin using waste paper baskets, so stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing we have here is our waste paper baskets. I picked these up at the dollar store for $1.50 each. Total came to about $6 with tax. They're small, lightweight, and easy to carry around. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is set up this bottom waste paper basket. We're going to use this as our base bin that'll catch the leachate. That's the runoff from the worms. And that's going to catch in this bucket here. So what I like to do is I like to add something in the bottom of this catcher. I'm going to use the bricks here. You can use whatever you like. It doesn't really matter. If you use wood or anything like that and it rots, you're going to have to change it more often. I like the brick just because it's solid and it won't break down as fast or as easy, because this is going to be very moist down here. Now that we have that done, next thing we're going to do is add the first worm bin. This is the first bin that's going to have worms in it, and it's going to hold our bedding for the worms. So this bin has holes in the bottom of it. That's for the leachate to drain out the bottom into this catcher bin right here that we already set up. So the first thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to set it in here. You can see the holes in there. I drilled them out. They're about approximately 3/4 of an inch drill bit, so you can drill those out. Very easy. I drilled a lot of them. Okay, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set that in here. And that's going to be what we put our first amount of worms in. All right, so now that we have our main worm bin set up, it's time to add some worm bedding. So I'm going to use some leaves here. These are cheap and extremely easy to find. If you have a local park, or if you have a tree in your yard, you're going to have lots of leaves laying around. These are free, and you can add them into your worm bin as carbon. I like to fill mine about half full. Push them down some. All right, so now that we have our basic worm bedding down, the next thing we need to do is add a little bit of grit to this for the worms to grind up these leaves and the other food that we're going to add into it. So I like to use some rock dust here, just very finely ground rocks. If you're looking for a replacement of this, you can also use sand. It'll work just as well, and it's cheap, it's easy to find, just like the leaves, and it works just as well. So we're going to mix some of this in here for grit. Okay, and then we're going to stir it up, mix it in here with all the leaves, and then push them back down some. So that basically is a setup that has worm bedding, some grit in it, and that's all you need in this bin in order to get started. Now we have everything set up for the worms to live in. We're going to have to add some food for the worms. The worms are going to need something to eat. They can live on these leaves, but they would like, and they do better if they have some food. So the first thing I'm going to do is just add some of these frozen bananas. I wouldn't recommend adding these frozen if your worms are in here, but there's no worms in here yet. So I can just throw them in here. These will thaw out and they'll be very soft and mushy, and that's how the worms will be able to digest them easier. So I like to put 2 or 3 of these in, throw them in there. So that's going to provide the food for your worms to eat. So that will finish off this worm bin. The last thing I want to do is we're going to add another tray. So I've got another bin that has holes in the bottom of it. Once again, I'm going to add that to this bin. I'm going to put it on top. I'm going to set it in here like this. So this is just like adding another tray to the worm bin. Now, if we want to, we can add more leaves into this bin and fill it up just the same way as the bottom one. So if we want to throw leaves and such in here, we can throw it in here and it'll be fine. The worms will migrate. So if you take this bin off and you look in here, and this food and all the leaves and stuff are starting to get broken down pretty well with the worms, you can add another bin on top with holes in it, just the same as we added this one, and you can put it on top so the worms can migrate it up into this bin. So there you have it, a fully functional worm bin ready to put your worms in it to add. Doesn't take up much space, doesn't take much time to build, and is extremely cheap to fill up. Works very well, and it's great for a new beginner wormer. If you're like me, I like to add a couple of these boards underneath of it. So I'll take it out like this. I'll set the boards like this pieces of wood, and I'll use them, and I'll set the bin up like this just to get it off the ground, to keep it warmer and to keep any mess off the floor, so you can sweep underneath of it and stuff. Makes it a little easier to keep clean. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope everybody liked my tutorial. If you did, if you could drop me a like or even subscribe, that would be really awesome. Thank you everybody for showing up and checking out my video. Have a great day. See you later.